Frank Dunn is proud of where he comes from.
When I go all over the country and I meet people and they always ask me where I'm from, I tell them it's Denver Heights, Texas.
You don't say San Antonio.
No.
Why? Why is that?
Because Denver Heights was very significant with the people I grew up with. I don't know if I need to put anything in front of that.
It's a pride Mario Salas shares, the longtime local civil rights activist and professor.
I could sit here and pick your brain all afternoon.
Well, I could sit here all night.
Yeah.
Spent much of his life in Denver Heights.
Denver Heights was, I think, a hub of it was a big hub of black activity. Starting way back in the 1920s and 30s, there were a lot of black businesses there. At one time when the trains were segregated, blacks were able to work on the railway system as porters, and they were called Pullman porters because the train was a Pullman train, and they were porters on the train. You know.
I watched how neat they dressed with their uniforms on. I thought that was the greatest thing ever.
What did they look like?
They had the uniforms, the point with their hat, and I loved that. That hat meant a lot to me.
When they would get off the train at Sunset Station, or St. Paul Square, it has two names, they would need a place to stay, so they would board in boarding houses in the Denver Heights.
Growing up in a neighborhood of black professionals, Dunn says, gave kids like him something to dream of.
We had it going on. We had it going on.
Dunn also remembers the legacy of influential Denver Heights neighbors like Charles Bellinger. His profession wasn't as straightforward.
I mean, he was a gambler.
And a successful one. Bellinger used his money and influence at City Hall to fight for the East Side. He also covered the cost of poll taxes, a fee to vote, so that his neighbors could afford that right.
He was a community guy. He took care of a lot of people. A lot of people got jobs because of Mr. Bellinger, and he was a good businessman, but Mr. Bellinger had black folks.
Denver Heights became a predominantly black neighborhood in large part because African Americans weren't allowed to live elsewhere.
There was deed restrictions on some properties. The former mayor of San Antonio had a deed restriction in Terrell Hills and Alamo Heights, and I memorized it by heart. And it says, no lot, tract, or re-subdivision of land shall ever be sold, leased, or given as a gift to any person of African or Mexican American descent.
Then later, a highway made this community smaller.
When they put 281 in, where the Alamo Dome is, that took a chop off of what was all black at one time.
Dunn wants people to know about the history that Denver Heights holds, not only what it once was, but what it's becoming as a prime piece of real estate just east of downtown. It's a story he is determined to tell in a documentary he's making.
If we don't tell our story, who's going to tell it?